Thank you for staying with us. The ongoing feud between the Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, and his deputy, Philip Shaibu, continues to deepen. The latest twist to the rift between both men happened earlier this week when the Edo State Government disbanded the media crew attached to the office of the Deputy Governor, Philip Shaibu. In a statement from the state's Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Chris Nehikhare, the Deputy Governor was directed to request the Ministry of Communication and Orientation for media coverage of activities of his office henceforth. It is believed that this development follows a mild drama that played out over the weekend during the colloquium held to mark the 60th anniversary of the Midwest Referendum celebration, where some journalists who claim to be the media crew of the Deputy Governor attempted to force their way into the hall, where the governor and other invited dignitaries were already seated. Many watching the political tension between the governor and his deputy are advocating that both men resolve issues between them to avoid disrupting the flow of governance in the state. Joining us via Zoom is Executive Director, Canvases for Democracy and the Rule of Law, Olu Martins. Good morning, Mr. Martins. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Right. This drama that has been playing out between the governor and his deputy have been going on for quite a while. And there are those who have been speaking to the issues they're seeing. Some have said that the governor is trying to establish his dominance in the state as a governor. And there are those who are saying that for Philip Shaibu, it is karma that is playing out for him because of how he treated the former governor of Edo State, talking about Oshomole. Now, for you, how do you interpret what is going on between these two persons?
Thank you very much. I love the media as the fulcrum of the state because our collective freedoms of the people will never be guaranteed if we don't have people like you extraying the doings, actions and inactions of government. And that's a quote by Patrick Henry. I said all of that because, naturally, when things like this happen, there'll be different kinds of captions. I've seen different kinds of caption, both on traditional media and online media. And I just laugh because what is going on here isn't more than the desire of an individual to aspire for office. And there's nothing entirely wrong with that. In all of this, nobody has ever begrudged the deputy governor for aspiring for office. Again, it is the late Archbishop Idahosa Benson, that was our own icon here, that says, if you have a desire, don't retire, but refire to acquire your desire. So it's okay to have an ambition, but it's not okay to attempt to rock the system, to twist everybody, because you have a desire. And when you say that this thing has been, before now, we see in the light of an elder brother, younger brother relationship. So it hadn't been going on as long, maybe just barely, 6 weeks, 2 months ago, when we saw a court order itemizing certain things that the governor intended to do to the deputy. And like Comrade Senator, former governor of Edo State, said, we are just in a situation where for the first time the court is adjudicating on a matter that is based on speculation. We thought that the court wouldn't adjudicate on something that has not happened, but in the realms of imagination, the court is saying that because you have imagined it, we're going to grant an interlocutory adjunction. But that aside, what I see here is somebody who wants to force himself on the system. What I see here is somebody who wants to say, you know what, because I have, quote unquote, just like you said, karma, I have helped you to fight Comrade Adams or Shomole, you owe me. I see a sense of entitlement. This is me speaking
how
as a woman.
So?
Somebody is saying, because I've done for you,
you need to make things clear for us to understand. You have said that there's nothing wrong with he having an ambition to become a governor.
Absolutely nothing wrong.
So how did he go about showing some sense of entitlement? What did he do?
Like I told you, before now, we didn't know that there was such a rift until the deputy governor went to court the House of Assembly currently on recess. Before they went on recess, we didn't hear anything. We have personal friends in the House of Assembly. The Speaker, Right Honorable Blessing Agbebaku, is known to several of us, and many House of Assembly members are known to us. And they found it strange that they saw it in the media space that there was an attempt to, the Deputy Governor went to court to say that there's an attempt to impeach him. Well, many of them said, we have never heard such a, it's not even in contention. All right. So it will look like somebody is trying to give a dog a bad name so he can hang it. That's why I'm saying that that kind of action came to us in Edo State strange, because we did know that before now the governor and the deputy had been best of friends. Going further, upon the emergence, before when the House of Assembly was to be inaugurated and they were to get a speaker, we are told that the deputy governor tried to fraternize with the opposition party so that he can assist a speaker that is different from what the majority party in the House of Assembly had agreed on will emerge. Many people saw that as a civilian coup d'etat, as an attempt to hold the governor by the jugular, by collaborating with members of the opposition party. If you do say that you are loyal to both the governor and both to the party, would have thought that the consensus addendum of the party with respect to who will become the Speaker of the House of Assembly will be binding on all and sundry, including the Deputy Governor, who is a member of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State. But to see a situation where there's subterfuge, where there's undercurrent, where the Deputy Governor wants a Speaker different from the interest of the system, clearly for me that is an undercurrent that suggests that somebody is overreaching in his attempt to establish the fact that he has a right, to contest. And there's no governor in his right sense of thinking who would have a deputy that is under him that appears to want to, pull the carpet from under his feet without his knowledge.
You need to help us understand the interest of this system that you're talking about, because you said that they've been best of friends, even at the time when the governor was going to run for second term and the deputy governor was alleged to wanting to be dropped, but then he insisted that no, they had to run together for the second term. Yeah, so it means that there might be more to the eye than what we know. How is it put? So. It could be that the deputy governor knows more than we think, or you also think that you probably know. We also know that it is not customary for the governors to allow their deputies, to support their deputies' ambition, when it comes to them, ending their own tenure and have their deputy succeed them. Couldn't just be what is, sort of playing out now.
Well, I wish I could put it that way, but I need to be a little bit clear on certain, fundamentals as far as these issues are concerned. The governor of Edo State is not willing to be a godfather. Do not forget that we have constantly said that the Edo State sits on a tripod. The first tripod that Edo State sits on is the fact that we have an Edo Central. We have an Edo Central, and then you have an Edo Central, and then you have an Edo South, and then you have an Edo North. And the governor is saying that within the last 24 years of the return to the Fourth Republic, we have had governance, we have had the governor and the deputy swing between the Edo North and the Edo South, where you have the Edo Central. So the governor is saying that in fairness and in equity, we must allow for inclusion. Our sister state Bendels, Delta State, from the old Bendel State, have rotated power between the Urobos, the Shekiris, and the Oniomas, the three major groups that constitute what we call Delta State. And the government is saying for fairness and equity, shouldn't we be looking at Edo Central? I think that the deputy governor, coming from the same local government with Adams Oshomole. Adams Oshomole was governor for 8 years. Before Adams Oshomole, we had a Michael Giadome, who was deputy governor to a Lucky Igbenedion for 8 years. He is also an ESA command. So, and then you now have a Philip Shaibu, who is also an ESA command from the same local government with Adams Oshiomhole. You heard what Adams Oshiomhole said in his interview. He wishes that everybody, all the governors of Edo State can come from his own clan. But he's just from one clan among these hundreds of clans in Edo State. In his language, so for equity, for balance, for sensitivity, let power, in a manner of speaking, without prejudice to the desires of the Edo people, because in the final analysis, it is the Edo people that will determine who they want as governor, irrespective of the zone that he comes from. But everybody is clamoring to say, for fairness, let's take it to Edo Central. And it looks like the governor is pandering towards that as a fair and a just man. And the deputy governor doesn't think that is fair, because he feels that the moment he doesn't have the support of the deputy governor, it is my thinking, he doesn't have the support of the governor, it is my thinking, I may be wrong. But if you look at the political trajectory of the deputy governor, he has constantly had, quote unquote, a godfather sitting behind him, ensuring that he gets whatever he gets politically. Before now, Adams Oshiomhole had been his political godfather, and he had also said so, himself. So it looks like if the governor doesn't support him, this is the first election that Philip is going to get into without the support, so to speak, of a governor or some kind of, a godfather. And the man is agitated, knowing that the current feeling of the Edo people is that we should be fair to Edo Central people, and he is not from Edo Central. And when that kind of an issue comes on board, the man became uncomfortable and felt that what he could do is to attempt, to rock the boat and to display a sense of entitlement when power indeed belongs to the Edo people. And they have the prerogative to determine who will govern them after the expiration of the tenure and the exit of Governor Godwin Obaseki.
Well, this whole scenario playing out reminds me of also what's going on in Kogi State, where the governor also, when his deputy Edward Onoja, came out to said that he has an ambition. And a lot of persons thought that the governor would support him, but the governor came up with another candidate in Usman Odudu, and that is also, bringing some level of contention, so to speak. But are you saying, from the analysis that you have made, that if Philip Shaibu today drops his ambition, we will see some resolution of this conflict, so to speak, between the governor and his deputy?
No, he should not drop his ambition, because he also said, was it yesterday, that ambition is personal. And nobody can be. If a man desires to be elevated within the sphere of the Christian space, he desires a good thing. So there's nothing wrong in having a personal ambition. But he's got to understand that Edo State sits on a tripod. He's got to understand that the 5 million people of Edo State desire a kind of leader that will reflect the fact that we are brothers in Edo State. He's got to understand that he can aspire without necessarily rocking the boat. This is not the first time in Edo State that a governor will not support his deputy. Hearing from Adams Oshiomhole himself, and I quote him, that whether wrongly or rightly, he did not support his then deputy, Dr. Pius Odubu. And he says, and I quote again, that Dr. Pius Odubu did not take him to court. Guess what? Dr. Pius Odubu went on to contest that election, even to the primaries. And if anything that they say happened on the field on that is to go by, Dr. Pius Odubu would have clinched that ticket, if not for, of course, some of the natural incumbency power of the governor, then Adams Oshiomhole, who now saw the emergence of Godwin Obaseki. So it's okay to have an ambition, but it's not okay to try to bully anybody. At that, a governor who has demonstrated that he has a mind of his own, to bully him into supporting you because you think that having, quote unquote, fought your own political godfather, the governor must repay you back with the ticket of a party that belongs to a party, not the governor, and then he must do whatever it is to market you to those state people who have a right to determine who will, govern them. So for us, what we're uncomfortable about is that sense of entitlement. He shouldn't drop his ambition. If he doesn't feel that he can find expression within the political party, he can go to any other political party and test his popularity. He's been in office from the House of to the House of Rep and now to Deputy Governor for a space of 8 years, another 8 years, for 16 years. So we think that for all that is worth, let him go there, let him remain there, but let him remain as Deputy Governor and let him understand the feelings of the Edo people, because the impression here is the fact that, oh, somebody doesn't want me to aspire. It's not about his aspiration. He has the right to aspire. There are over 30 people who are aspiring, and
we need to put you on hold. Thank you for staying with us. Before we went on the break, we were speaking with the Executive Director, Canvassers for Democracy and the Rule of Law, Olu Martins, on the crisis or the feud between the Edo State Governor and his deputy. And Ibrahim, you said you had.
Right. Thank you so much. Let's pick it from where you left off. We understand that Philip Shaibu, the Deputy Governor of Edo State, is very close to Governor Adams Oshiomhole, because the latter's father was the one, the former father was the one who also raised Governor Adams Oshiomhole, who was given somewhat like a state burial. And he had the power, or he had the opportunity to have reconciled the difference between the incumbent governor and Adams Oshiomhole. But then you said that he has the right, the prerogative to contest, and it could go to other party. But do you think the APC will welcome him, owing to the fact that former Governor Adams Oshiomhole said that APC is not a rehabilitation camp or an IDP camp? So they might not be, invariably saying that they might not welcome him. What do you think might happen going forward for the Deputy Governor?
Well, I don't think that there is APC and there is PDP in a political contestation. Do not forget that political contestations are about crisis and consensus. There's the Labour Party, there is the AAC, there is the ADC, there is the SDP. There are several D's there, that political parties that he can associate with. Do not forget that Olusegun Mimiko, the Iroko of Ondo State, had the same problem where it didn't look like he was going to get the ticket of a political party. He moved at that time to the Labour Party, and he became for the first time the first governor under Labour Party, where he sojourned for about 4 years before he went to rejoin his people. It appears that the APC, through their Don Dada, if you allow me to describe him that way, in Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole, has foreclosed his entry into APC. He used the language. He said those who have lost in their political party cannot find succor in APC, because APC is not a rehabilitation camp for for individuals who have currently lost relevance in their political party. And do not forget that Adams Oshiomhole comes from the same ward comes from the same local government and the same clan with Philip Shaibu. So he says he has lost that. He's probably talking figures. He's looking at the past 3 elections as deputy governor that he has contested with Adams Oshiomhole from the same local government, and how Adams Oshiomhole and how Philip Shaibu has lost out. So I think that people are also looking at the political relevance. Political parties in this country essentially about winning elections. How relevant can Philip Shaibu be, to APC, coming from the same senatorial district with Adams Oshiomhole, who has demonstrated that he is well at home with the electorate in Edo North. So I think that APC may just conclude that, in fairness, we don't really need the deputy governor to boost our political fortune in Edo North, because look at it, all the time he had been in PDP till now, the statistics, the figures, the electoral value of the deputy governor has shown that we don't need him. So because of that, I think that's why APC has said, well, you can stay where you are, continue to respect and be loyal, to your governor. But the deputy governor, perceiving himself to be popular and sellable to the people, can actually go the Olusegun Mimiko way. Supposing he doesn't have the diplomacy to go on the ground and interface with the leaders of the political party. At the end of the day, whether it is an open primary or a delegate election, it is the party that will decide. And I did tell you earlier on that Dr. Pius Odubu contested favorably with Godwin Obaseki, who was the choice of Adams Oshiomhole. As heavy as Oshiomhole was at that time, as popular as he was, Pius Odubu will have won that primary because he had a relationship with the establishment.
Right.
And when I say with the establishment, with the political party, whether Philip Shaibu has that relationship with the political party is what he should be demonstrating. Instead of attempting this unnecessary face-off with the governor, he should be fraternizing, liaising, exchanging ideas with party leadership, with party structure, with local government structure, with the state executive structure, and seeing how he can sell his candidature to them and contest in the primaries of PDP like Pius Odubu did under Adam Shoshomole. We didn't hear this feud under Adam Shoshomole because Pius Odubu was diplomatic and he had a long-standing relationship with the key leaders in the party at that time, which I'm not very sure that currently Right Honorable Comrade Philip Shaibu has.
We have limited time as we coast home with regards to this conversation. Two quick questions I want to ask is, there are those who have said that how the governor is handling this matter is not necessarily right, and that he hasn't even come out with his candidate who he is supporting, and that it is time for him to perhaps showcase who he's supporting at this point so he can channel his energy in that direction. What do you say to that? And on the other hand, do you see any occasion where these two would resolve these issues? Do you think that this matter will be resolved once and for all? Because in politics, it is often said that there are no permanent enemies or friends, but permanent interests, as it is. Because in that colloquium, we saw Governor Obaseki and Governor Adams Oshomole shaking hands, speaking with themselves. Right.
Let me first of all say that what we have is a political difference. It is not a personal difference. What Governor Obaseki had with Adams Oshomole was a political difference. And like they say in politics, and like you have quoted, it's just about interest. It's not personal. None of them has taken each other's wives. None of them has confiscated each other's product. We're just each other's wife. We're just each other's property. We're just simply saying that this is my own interest and this is my own interest. And in fairness, this administration, she has about 14 months to go. Will it not be tantamount to slowing yourself down if in 14 months, we have 14 months to go, you have already demonstrated who your candidate may be? Moreover, the governor, being a diplomat, is saying that who the candidate of the party would be should be determined by the party and not by him as an individual. He is not an emperor. He says that the Peace Party should determine who will be the candidate of the party. INEC has not come out with a timetable. We are still in 2023 when the election is in 2024. There's still so much for the governor to do. There are roads to be repaired. There's infrastructure to be completed. There are hubs. There's a lot of things the governor has started that he must put a cap on before he now distracts himself with politics. So we think that this is an unnecessary distraction. That's why you are not hearing the governor, say much. What happened at the colloquium was an embarrassment. You are a media person, and I'm sure an expert in your own right. When a state has a state outing, not an individual's outing, there's just one state press corps. There aren't two state press media. There's just one state press media. All of them appointed by the governor, mostly sometimes seconded to the deputy governor. You can have, two state media coming for an event where the governor is in the event. This is how these things work. So for the deputy governor to now say he has his own cameraman, to what essence is it? And I ask people the question. It is, and I don't mean to encourage that kind of governance. For truth of the matter, do you think that this kind of thing would have happened under Governor Nyesom Wike as governor of Rivers State? It's an affront, and I think that it's an attempt to rub shoulders with your governor, whom the Constitution has described clearly as the chief executive of Edo State. How dare you have your own media crew where there's a media crew from government house? There are no two government house. There are no two governors. There are no two press corps working in government. There's just one press corps working in government house, and all of them answers to one beat, and that beat is the governor of Edo State.
Right. I asked, do you think that this matter will be resolved? Do you have any hope inside that whatever differences they have could be resolved at the end of the day quickly, because we have to wrap things up now?
I don't know what we want to resolve. There's nothing to resolve.
Right.
The deputy governor has an ambition. He can go by it without all of this drama. Nobody's asking him not to aspire. There's nothing wrong with that. The governor doesn't have a problem with the deputy governor's ambition. He just has a problem with his methodology, the way he wants to go about ensuring that he emerges as the candidate of the PDP with the support of Governor Godwin Obaseki, which he may not get because the people must determine who the candidate of the party is.
We have to leave the conversation here now.